Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning. Good morning to every soul.
Yeah. Hi,
Yeah.
everybody. It's Shannon and Drema from I Evolve TV, and we're doing our weekly,
Or this
this
week.
week's special, special half-hour
Ditty.
little. Yes. How'd you know that was coming? You knew that
Zoom
was in
zoom.
my head. Just this week, just to check it out, see how it goes. And so we're back, and we're going to talk about ancestral karma today. But that doesn't mean people can't ask whatever, right?
Yeah. We can roll with whatever today. It
Yeah.
sort of gives us a grounded outline of where we're sort of hanging out, today with
Right.
the coffee, and get your coffee and hang out with us. That'd be great. And we'll just roll with it. See where spirit takes us today. It's a good day.
Sounds great.
Yeah,
Sounds
it's supposed to
awesome.
be like 60, was it 65 today or something crazy? Beautiful weather. That's beautiful to me. We've been in some, I'm
Yeah.
ready for something warm. So it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
So we
I'm
got
starting
some
our
books
chat.
that we were talking about, pulling a little bit from some books, pulling a little bit of stuff from here and there. And the spirit also, oh, remember the other day when I had this energy show up, this woman,
Yeah.
grandma,
Mhm.
and pulled out the chair and sit next to me. That
Yeah.
was I was like, and then threw me a feather.
Yeah.
That was really interesting. Well, comes out to be that was my client's mother.
The
That's who
one
it
that's
was.
coming at the end of April.
That was coming after we got done that day. That was last Friday or
Wow.
whenever. Yeah, she was due to come that afternoon at that day at noon because she had to get to work and stuff. And that was her mother. So that was really cool. I
Oh, yeah.
didn't figure
I'm
it
thinking
out.
of somebody else.
Yep, I didn't figure it out until, after we were done that morning. And then I was like, wow. And then it hit me, it was her mother. So that was cool.
That's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, hopefully, I didn't notice that yesterday. Sometimes this will happen where um, our stream that's supposed to like funnel everything into one spot doesn't always
Yeah.
work. And I think that's because I'm using my personal Facebook too. So that might be why.
Okay.
But, and then other times, and so then we don't, I don't know why that happens, but then we don't see all the comments in real time. So I have to bounce back and forth between my phone and computer. So
Okay.
I'm going to fix my lighting real quick.
Okay.
If you want to introduce the topic, only take me a second.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Yeah. So what we're going to talk about today a little bit about is ancestral karma, is the cycle of those things that even happened maybe in your family a long time ago, coming back around and sort of wondering why maybe you may be stuck in something. You're like,
Mm-hmm.
why can't I get myself loose from this?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we're going to talk about, sort of like that. Sort of
Yeah.
posing some ideas and thoughts out there.
And we're going to try to, kind of cast a wide net, let's just
Yes.
say. Yeah, because I mean, sometimes this is really hard for people to wrap around, but there's shamanic cultures from every culture.
Yes.
Or shamanic traditions, and some of them are just have been, I don't want to say erased because that's really sad, but rewritten or
It's true though. They have
guided. People have been guided elsewhere, I guess.
Yes. Well,
To
our
traditions.
like you're saying, our ideals and our thoughts and different tradition has came in and sort of moved different ideas out of the way and said, well,
Right.
this isn't practical, or this doesn't matter. And now I believe, like, I was talking to my husband last night, this is a time where people are coming back into a more holistic and more, they want to be healed, and they want to have more understanding of how to heal the old fashioned way. And the very, what would I call, earthing, grounding, ancient sources of healing. They're pulling back into Mother Earth. They're saying, give me some time out with Mother Nature. Let me breathe some fresh air, and let me go to a shaman instead of running first to Western medicine. Let me see what I can do to clear some karma, you know, or
Right.
some things that may be actually, coming down the pipe here, and I'm picking up some things. So it's very
So so traditionally, I think what the rule of thumb is, I have something in my mouth. Um, uh,
Give it a good spit.
yeah, exactly. Outside, has been that things that you heal presently, you
Yeah.
heal 7 generations. I mean, it might not be some humongous thing,
Yeah.
7 generations behind you in the past and 7 generations moving forward. So that's why ancestral karma, if you've heard it come up a lot, is actually really important. And it's just healing. That's all. I mean, well, the karma is something, but karma can also be good or bad, right? So but there might be something that's plaguing you that just kind of keeps cycling back around, and that's why especially if it's like pervasive in your family of origin,
Yeah.
that could be a particular paradigm that everybody is struggling to heal in the family. It could be a history of some kind of
I have had
substance
people that
abuse
had
or
a karmatic, what would you call it, line of addiction, where it went
yeah,
back 3 to 4 generations. There was addictive behaviors, and
yes,
and now this person is stuck, absolutely trapped in addiction in this generation, and they're like, how do I get out of this? It's been my father, my grandfather, all the way back, this karmatic addiction. And
right.
that's a deep root. I believe that has to go back, and that's where you come into you journey back to that place. You bring the remedy or the healing, which will absolutely, like you said, ripple out like ripples in a pond. Boom, 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 and
Mm-hmm.
clear and heal all the way up through 7 generations.
Right. So, and that brings up the topic of nature versus nurture. Nature might be what you're predisposed to, but the nurture is how you observed in your modeling after the people in your family of origin. That's what people do. So that's like if something stresses you out, maybe it's alcohol. If something stresses you out, you drink. Something
Right.
to celebrate, you drink. Been a long day, drink. Like so you see those coping. There are coping mechanisms, and them in doses of appropriateness, whatever everybody's idea of what that is different too. You were nurtured in an environment that was normal behavior, just like any other behavior. This is how my mom washed dishes, or this is how my mom folded towels. We tend to do the same things because that's how you were trained. So that's the nurture that
Yeah.
that works for you.
True. I was just having sort of like a flash vision, sort of. I believe Spirit was giving me of how when I was a kid, we would, I don't know, this is going to date me, but we used to play with stuff called Play-Doh. And we played with this stuff called, it was like it came in an egg, and you took it out and you stretched
Yeah.
it and put it down on paper, and it would pull.
Oh, you're talking about silly putty.
Silly putty. Yeah. It would pull it'd pull the picture right off the paper. And man, we love that dang silly putty. And Spirit was really connecting that with how as we come in and we pull up and transmutate and pull up those same things that are handed down generationally, and we become that. And think about it, when you take that silly putty and you squish it, the picture's gone,
Right.
but it's still there. It's still in that putty. And that's why you could keep it for a certain amount of time, and eventually you're like, I need a new thing of silly putty because mine is all messy, because you have pulled so much stuff off of the newspaper. You got all this ink and all this stuff. Right. So think about that as like you're moving through your life, and you're like a piece of silly putty. You're collecting this stuff. And eventually when you get cleansed, that's why, I have clients that come, and people that come and they say, I need to cleanse from all this stuff. And that's karma. There's all this stuff that I've gathered over the time period. Anyway, I thought that was a really interesting, that's why I just seen that quick, bam. I was like, wow. I heard you're like silly putty. You're collecting all this crap as you're walking through life.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said,
well, maybe at least coming in contact with it, whether or not you decide to pick that up and stick it in your pocket,
right,
is entirely up to you.
Yeah. but coming in contact with anything, yeah, it can leave residual,
Residual.
yeah,
What you
stuff
said?
stuck in your field a little bit.
Yeah.
Or like I used to give a comparison to like walking through the mud. You got your boots on, you walk through the mud. You might get out of that mud, but there may be traces of that, little bit even, on your boot. So you stomp
Yeah.
them off. You stomp them off to come into to the next place in your life. You're stomping off what you walk through, because you walk through a pile of shit, and you stomp it off. You come into this new place in your life, and now you don't have the shit on your boots. But if you looked really fine, there might be a little teeny residual amount on
Sure.
the boot. And so you got to change your shoes. You got to walk a new way, and move into something different. And kick it off your feet. Kick the dust off. Yeah. It's a new
Right.
day. So it's good. That's very good.
So should I bring up that little
That diagram, go ahead. Yeah.
diagram just so people can get a visual of what we're talking about?
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
All right. I will do that then. So it's pretty easy. I mean, we've already talked about all these things a little bit. Predeterminism, that's your nature, you're naturally predisposed to something, whatever it is. And then, or nurture as well, like your family of origin trained you to be to harness these behaviors or what have you.
Right. Our thought patterns, how you view things. And a lot of times we look at things too, condition is so heavy, so much of a focus, our condition, because what is the condition of our situation? You know what I mean? So we're created by, a lot of times, our thoughts by our condition, whether you are raised out in the country and you live with a bunch of goats, or whether you live in the city and you never seen a goat. It's a condition, it's a conditioning that you are raised with. So your mindset is going to be totally different than this person. Throw a person that lived in the city their whole life out to the goats, and they're going to be like, what the heck is going on?
You're like BF Skinner up in here. He was like the psychologist that was big into behaviorism, I think.
Oh, really?
I think it was B.F. Skinner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Pavlov too. Pavlov's dog. Ring a bell, and they celebrate or salivate. Yeah, salivate. It's from a Bare Naked Lady song.
Ah, yes.
Anyway, I like that line.
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
So, okay, circumstances in the present, ready for action. Number 3, actions in the present, creating the future. And 4, past actions, ripening for the present. So just kind of, it's a wheel of, and when we talk about the karmic wheel, like in the Buddhist tradition, that's also talking about lifetimes. So this would be just in current, but you can think about it any way you want. It doesn't matter to me.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Apply it however it works for you. But 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 you know what, when we sit down, each of us, and if we do any kind of digging into our family, I say our lineage wrong all the time.
Lineage.
I got that hillbilly lineage. I got some lineage for you. Whenever you do that, yeah, you start, going.
Hide your spoons.
How's my spoons? What are you talking about, woman?
Your grandma always took the spoons, remember?
Oh, yeah, that's right. She'd take all the silverware and hide it. Yeah, but
why?
I don't know, but she did. Yeah, but so that family, you start going into your family lineage, and you will learn a lot of what the conditioning was at that time, and how there are traits and things that come down through the family line. You don't even know. Like, I don't even know very well know my grandparents, because I was raised very far away from them. So I would get to see them once a year for a certain period of time, but yet there are traits and things that I know that have been handed down through the generations to me, and I believe, it's very powerful. It really is, when we take our power.
Yeah, I could do like probably a whole hour and a half show
Just
talking
your,
about
your family lineage. Yeah.
how I dipped into that. Like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness.
I know exactly, and it's amazing to bring healing, to go back and bring healing to our family, our future, you know, and
But
you're
talking about that reminded me of things that you become, that tends to be a common thing through in the family.
mm-hmm.
And in doing some genealogy work, which will oftentimes activate these things to bring up, it stirs the pot.
Yes.
Anyway, so one of the stories, one of the actual factual historical things, and I'll just kind of like be really succinct with it, is so my great 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 grandfather times 4 was the last man to be publicly beheaded in Oslo, Norway. So I'll kind of just skip to like family getting here.
Yes.
Because there's a lot in there. That's far too much for a half hour.
That needs to be a whole show.
Yeah. So believe it or not, they had criminologists then, they had detectives then, they had they had some players when it came to like arrest and the murder and why he murdered somebody in the trial. And so we actually have some documents that have survived and have been translated for us. And so one of the things that happened once the family came here is there was a story about great grandfather Peter the pirate.
Yeah.
He in fact was not a pirate. I don't know why that
yeah. Isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
It's like that thing they say, give somebody, whisper something in somebody's ear and 10 people down, it's going to be a total different story.
Yeah, he wasn't a pirate. And so maybe I don't know, maybe dabbled in that, but that certainly wasn't his,
right.
Big moment in life, and so but there's not much information beyond that, like where he worked, and he worked on a farm. So and it wasn't that long ago. It was 150 years ago. So it wasn't, we're not talking like,
that's still a long
Stone Age. So so that story kind of, I don't know, it just kind of hung around, I guess. And I don't even know many details about it, but he wasn't a pirate. No. So that's just really interesting that, but what's I find interesting about that is that those abilities to spin a yarn or, weave a story in my family continues. And, it just does. And I don't know if that's just because there's an oral tradition that has hung on, but that's quite the story.
It is. It is. The whole story. Yeah. I think you went into it one day, a little bit, a few months back when we were talking. And if you want to go back to that and listen to that, it's an amazing story. And you showed some pictures even of I think it could have been like a month or more ago. So if y'all want to go back a month or more ago, back on I Evolve TV. And I know that we were doing something and she's showing pictures and stuff about family photos. And
I guess I don't remember that.
Yeah, a little bit. You just dabbled into it a little bit more. It was a little more because we did talk about my getting smacked and all the stuff that happened. And bringing, sort of trying, just moving into bringing some clearing and some healing, generational healing back. I believe that we can change the past. We can change the past.
Yeah, and now we found our Norwegian family. We found them through that process, and we exchanged Christmas gifts, and we talk on a regular basis.
That's
now,
really
yeah, and that didn't exist prior to all of this.
Digging into all that. That's just amazing, isn't that? Just so
yeah.
Cool. It's really the doors that can open up and bring connection.
Oh
And
yeah, because I opened my brown cheese for my cousin on the show. It was with Jess that I'm
oh,
like, I'm supposed to open this right away because I had just let it set out. I didn't know there was cheese in there.
oh,
And so,
really?
yeah, it was fine. It was cold outside. So it was for Christmas. She
Oh, okay.
made my Christmas gift arrived after Christmas, but that was kind of the theme this year was like cultural.
Cultural things from your area.
Yeah. So I sent her like chocolate covered cherries and some my salt, or it's like MI salt. It's like
Oh,
Michigan made salt.
Michigan stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
It was
Yeah, that's
cool.
cool. Yeah, I like that. That's cool. But anyway,
So,
yeah, so that's why we were like, we both got this book here. It's called
yep.
Ancestral Medicine. Just going through it a little bit. I mean, I know we can only dabble a little bit because of our time element, but I think we should just stay with this maybe for the
Maybe.
duration of the week off and on, and sort of because we do have a little article I found that we could shoot around in a little bit called 10 Ways to Connect with Your Ancestors.
Yeah.
And going into and doing some ancestral healing and connecting with those ancestors. It is a very powerful and freeing thing as you take and well, what I feel the spirit giving me is ownership. The word is ownership, and you own those things, which is very awesome. Think about it, like for you when you move through that space, and you took ownership of what happened all those
Mhm.
generations ago, and you said, you know what, I'm going to own this. He's not a pirate.
Yeah.
I'm going to own what he was and who he was, and I'm going to bring clearing to that. And
And I actually, after we made contact, I did apologize to my cousin on behalf of our family because I don't even want to get into the story, but so she would be like a half cousin, like how many times removed, but um, so he murdered his wife to be with his girlfriend. And
yeah,
I'm a descendant of the girlfriend, and she's a
girlfriend,
descendant of the murdered wife. So
right?
that's it in a nutshell. But
Yes.
if it hadn't happened, not the murder, but if they hadn't, come and coupled
Yeah,
together,
it
my whole
wouldn't.
family wouldn't exist.
Exactly, exactly.
So,
It's amazing. It really is. Um,
mhm.
so
I have to
uh,
get a tissue, so keep talking. My
yeah,
nose is running like crazy.
I'm gonna put out there the first way to connect with your ancestors is to create an ancestral altar. An ancestral altar is a place to join forces with your special loved ones and work together um, for maybe even past life exploration or anything to help you reach your goal. It's a nice place to have a support system in your spiritual practice. I've seen people do that create a family altar. They call it, some people just would call it a family, having pictures of your family. That's not,
Trying. Like
uh,
I have one too. Like, and this is before I was into any of or had a real understanding. It's like where you keep the pictures of the people that have passed, and they could be hundreds of years old.
yeah,
I have one right
exactly.
there, and it has Steve's flag from, because he was a veteran. It has my
Yes.
grandparents. It has my grandpa who passed away, and they're
Yeah.
all right
In
there.
the,
It's just like a
yeah,
place.
right.
You don't realize that's an altar.
It
You know
is.
what I mean?
That's
But
what
it is.
they call it an altar, but some people would call it just, well, this is where all my family pictures are,
Yeah.
and that's cool. Ancestral shrine,
I would
what,
consider that the same.
yep,
Because
same
I guess
thing.
mine's more like a shrine. I mean, because of the flag and
Yes, exactly. So you can go to that place and you can sort of make a connection with that energy. And so that's the first way to connect with your ancestors. Second way is to visit their grave. Um, I'm not big on going to graves, but once in a while I do go to my daughter's grave. Um, you know, and if you
well,
have
and a lot
loved
of people
ones,
are cremated these days too. So you actually might. I
yeah,
mean, I have
it could-
some of Steve's ashes here. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I want to do when I'm gone. I said, just cremate me. I don't want to be in no box with nothing. Throw my ashes to the wind.
I might make a candle out of you.
Okay. Make a candle out of you. If you have loved ones buried in a cemetery, take time to visit the grave. Go for a visit.
And that's to kind of connect
That's
in
what
to their energy or make
exactly.
that connection. Yeah.
Make that connection. I think that's a very personal thing, though, honestly. I mean, because even when, uh, I don't just go just on holidays or something. When I feel like I feel very drawn to that.
Yeah.
If I don't feel drawn to going to a grave, I just don't go, because I know that those people are with me here in
Yeah.
spirit all the time.
And yeah, like, so if you live far away from that, where
Yeah.
they are,
Yep.
I mean, none of these things you have to do anyway.
No.
You can just,
You can
I'm freezing right now.
sit there and
Freezing cold, both
really,
sides.
yeah. You you can sit there and pull that energy right to you, right
Right.
there.
Yeah. Right.
That,
Yeah. I'm freezing right now because we're just talking about it.
yep, exactly. You're talking about your ancestors and all those, and they're probably, well, they're all gathering around you.
We're watching over my shoulder or something.
Yep.
I don't know.
Exactly. One on one side, one on the other. Okay, you can host a family gathering to honor your loved ones. That's a good one. Host a gathering, have a cookout, have a bonfire, just something to honor your loved ones. I know that when I've connected with certain loved ones, they have asked for a sacred candle to be burned in their honor. And I'm like, and then usually the client will say, "We just did that." A lot of times, it's just very much affirming. A lot of times spirit just wants to affirm and bring confirmation. This is the direction you're going, and I'm affirming that's right. Your ancestors are like, yeah, definitely burn a sacred candle.
Yeah. And I think that happens. A lot of people attend a church.
Yes.
they a lot of burning of candles and a lot of lighting that in the name of whatever,
Yes.
on a baptism candle. I mean, we've a holy matrimony candle, they light them all the
Candles
time
for everything. Yeah.
and I don't think people realize that you can do that yourself. You don't have, it doesn't have to just be isolated to church. Well, we both do. We light things all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, this is really troubling me, so I'm just gonna put some of my energy and my prayers into it, and I'm lighting it. Like, I just do it all the time.
Yeah. Yep.
You freezing?
Yep. Got a lot of cold, and I just had a quickening. Some that I just want to encourage somebody that's lost a child. I feel like they've lost a baby. I don't really just a sadness came over me, and I seen the baby, and I was like, oh my. So whoever you are, if you view this, that I want you to know that we just send comfort and love to you today.
Yeah.
That you did not stumble upon this by chance. This is just a word and encouragement for you that that love is around you, and your child is being very well taken care of and in the grandmother's arms, and there's no worries, but it just that your ancestors have got you, and you're okay, and it's going to be okay. I know it's a hard time right now, but felt a real strong and the cold just hit me. Reminisce with an old photo album of your family. That's a way to stir up that ancestral energy, looking at those old photos. I do that a lot of times. I love old photos. It's sad that this is the generation of digital, because they're not going to know the feeling of looking through old photo albums unless we print them.
So I can't see what you're watching or what you're looking at. But there's so many different variations on how to do these. So as you go, I might just blurt out something. So if it's further down the list, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, no, go. If you got something,
Okay.
if you flow in whatever spirit's given you.
I just thought of something and now it poof went. So maybe it's not the time to talk about
it.
Yeah.
We'll come back to you about photo albums or looking at photos of family.
Oh yeah. I do remember. So like if it's somebody like in a different period of time, like 50s or whatever, or maybe finding out where they lived, if you can find like historical things that might be somehow connected, and you can watch like some like reenactments, especially if it's overseas and you've never been overseas, those types of things can connect you to something with your ancestors as well. Yeah. So like if your family was from Peru, go check out documentaries on Peru, for example.
Oh yeah, that's good. I like that. The next one, number 5 is crafting together. What types of interests did your ancestors have? Ask questions to include some of these interests in in like say a candle for them, simple craft for them,
Mhm.
or putting on your altar or a sacred place. You know, if your
Mhm.
family was into growing beautiful flowers, whatever, whatever your grandfather did, he was a beautiful a crafter of paintings or a tailor, whatever, or he drove a 56 Chevy, and you might want to buy a little one and put it next to his photo. It's those things we're going to draw. That's going to draw ancestral energy to you.
Mhm.
Uh,
Because you're thinking about it.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, and intention is super powerful. Intention is super powerful.
Or recipes.
Yeah,
Like,
that's good.
like if you have a family recipe book, make some of those. Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is great. I love that. Um, that's really
Because
good.
then you can eat it.
Huh?
Because then you can eat it.
Yeah, exactly. That was the next one. Create an
Oh,
ancestral tea. So something you can, or an ancestral food. Create something that with your herbs, roots, that your ancestors would enjoy. So you can like almost say like, oh, grandmother, I know you would love this beautiful tea that I'm putting together out of all the, rose hips and cinnamon and
mm-hmm.
and drink that in just celebration and of grandmother's birthday or whatever. That's really good. Number 7, write letters to your ancestors. Spend some time writing a letter and practice.
And then that can be part of a moment, a ritual. I
Yes,
mean, when you say ritual, it likes to be something you do over and over again, but whether you do or not, it doesn't matter. But then you can burn it with a candle. You could just, because obviously, I mean, you decide,
yes. Well, this goes into as you're writing your letter, practice automatic writing, which is sort of, excuse me, that's going to be sort of channeled writing. That means you're feeling grandmother, grandfather, whatever, and so you just start writing for them too. You're writing your own. You're writing what you say. Oh, I love you so much. I miss you, and then you can write your own response that you feel coming through spirit to you.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very
And
powerful.
sometimes it's pictures. Sometimes you end up sketching something.
Yes, like I do a lot of that. Number
Yeah.
8, research your family lineage. Oh, which we covered that.
Yep.
Doing research. Number 9, dream with your ancestors. A way to enter our subconscious gently with our ancestors to visit them in dreams. This is a way
Yeah.
to communicate with them.
Yeah. So when you lay down and you close your eyes, you're inviting them to go on a dream journey with you, whatever,
Mhm. Yes.
whatever feels comfortable.
Way to connect. Number 10 is to dedicate a crystal. Choose a crystal, one you intend only for using to connect with that ancestor. It can
Oh,
be programmed to link to your bloodline, or meditation, carry it with you. Very cool.
that's a
Never,
cool idea.
I never thought of doing that,
Mm.
designating a crystal just for a certain ancestor. But some people are very, they're moving through past, present, and future in different ways. And
So I guess what we kind of need to bring this to, how does this help us in our healing?
yes, bring it to wrap it up. Pack
Well, maybe we need to go part
it.
2 tomorrow because we're 5 minutes past our
Yes,
time.
exactly. We'll go into this tomorrow. Yeah.
And how does connecting to them, even with the support of a shaman or on your own, how does that support you in healing? That'll be
I love that.
part
Yeah.
2.
Part 2 tomorrow.
Yeah.
I love that. You're awesome.
Well, thanks.
That's why it's so good every day. It's a good flow. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Where it needs to go, because now we sort of gave you the outline. If you want to, watch this again, the outline of how to connect, and tomorrow we're gonna finish it with how to bring healing through our connection. How does this take us to our take us to healing? But beautiful
Right.
day, beautiful day. Have a wonderful day, everybody,
You too.
and
You
it's
too.
gonna be good.
I think we sprinkled some of that in there. I think there was some, like, me connecting with my cousin, and so there's sprinkle of some of that in there, but we can get more specific tomorrow or whatever.
More specific, yeah, into healing, yeah, because
Mhm.
that's where it's at. I think there's a lot of people that want to know, okay, so how do I clear this and get rid of it and heal it?
Yeah, the stuff, the paradigms that you don't want to continuously manifest in your present life.
Yes.
How do you get, because you still want to honor those. You don't want to, you're not trying to erase a memory.
Yes.
It's not what you're doing.
Some people probably might be, but so that might be another thing we want to go into, how to erase that. You know?
Well, yeah, erase the emotional attachment to a memory. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah, I like that.
Or and the emotional attachment could be trauma.
Yes.
So,
exactly.
And I think sometimes, depending on what it is, it might be a lifetime of maintenance and care.
Yes, that's right. Exactly. So. Wow. Well, you guys have a wonderful day. I love you.
You too. Love you too.
And love you. I'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock, and we will continue this beautiful conversation. Love
yes,
y'all.
we will.